We're doing our usually scheduled Monday stream. If you were here this past Saturday, you'll know that there was a person who accused me of getting up at uh, 12 in the afternoon, and it's actually 11 something. So, not only that, but this individual has also, I guess, caught wind of me walking at 10. So, it's just, it's another one of those things that gets proven incorrect. I'm going to try to not make this a retread of Saturday. I'll go over some, I guess, similar beats, but there will be other things incorporated into the stream as well. So you notice a pattern, right? Something you don't like or otherwise think is repetitive and not in a good way. And you believe you've done your best to mitigate it, to change it, to stop it, but for whatever reason, it stays the same. Um, just with the job thing, right? That was a situation that was bad before COVID. And I was under the assumption that because there were more people who were getting laid off, because there were more people who were having a harder time acquiring one, you could possibly have these individuals show some level of, what's a good way of saying it, sympathy, understanding, compassion, empathy. Uh, and that was not the case. And, people don't get how aggravating it is to keep trying to get something right that you think is basic, just any position, and you apply, and you hear nothing back from most of these places. The few times you hear something back, it's them saying we're not interested. And then you have these clowns who pretend that this is something you would like to see, this continued status of not having a position. So it's basically rubbing salt in the wound. You have to not only have your time wasted when you fill out these applications, but you also have to have people attempt to attack you over someone else's decision. I even said to one of these people a few weeks ago, if they don't want to hire someone, what else are you supposed to do but apply? But it's just that's one of the things I was talking about where the act of not hearing anything back is already irritating because you took the time to fill out an application, but then you also have to get uh, verbally crucified over those decisions. And I really believed, like, because I pull up different statistics and data, right, to support my claim that this is that being unemployed right now is not exactly an uncommon thing, and they don't care. I remember this same person months before COVID started attacked me in the same way, and even with the knowledge of over 100 attempts on my part, even in knowing that this virus has caused more and more people to not have a position, they'll still repeat the same, attack points, or I guess disparaging remarks. And we went over the thing with school before. We've talked about that a couple of times. I've never done a video dedicated to it, but I've addressed it in the past. Um, and I'll wrap that up by saying this. If I had a son or a daughter, a stepson, a stepdaughter, and they got into a university and they were upset with me for not being willing to pay for them to go to school, there is no way in hell I wouldn't get criticized for that. Especially if it was a daughter, they would say, "She worked so hard and you're denying her dreams." And like I said, I have sympathy. So one of the people I actually believe they can't afford it. But again, that's mostly because I see them not getting anything that costs the same. See, this was really about a bunch of people, and it's funny. They always have to find a way to spin it. So first, it's can't afford it. Then it's too far away. Then it's you're entitled. That line on Friday is gonna haunt the one person for a long time. I really do want somebody to explain to me if you can't depend on your guardian, your parent, whatever, to assist you, I don't like, who else would you go to? No one's been able to articulate a response to that. But again, I don't even care at this point, about continuing because I've already said I believe it's a scam. I just think it's sad that you say you're not interested in doing this anymore, and then people can't accept that year after year. When are you going back? When are you going back? You need to go back. You need to go back. You need to go back. You see how the repetitive cycle repeats itself? And it sucks too because one of the things I really liked about doing the show before, the voice actor thing got as irritating as it did was that it always felt like this thing that was slowly progressing. I would take one episode and work on it for like a week or 2 or 3 weeks, depending on how long it was. And I could look at that and say, well, at least this is moving ahead in some manner. And then, the VAs got in the way. And that was a big part of the reason I didn't even really want to do it at different points because you would give people time to do stuff and then you would exercise this really extreme patience, bend over backwards, and the person would, treat you in a way that you didn't think was fair or becoming of what you had done. So I know for a fact that if I worked on someone's show and they gave me 7, 8, 9 months to not only not record anything, but also not say anything to them. And I came back and said, I'm going to record stuff at some point just to announce a week later that I wasn't going to record anything. People, if they knew I did that, would be upset with me. They would say, hey, you promised this person something. They were very patient with you, and you did this to them. But again, you are not treated. It's like the reverse of the golden rule. I'm just waiting for the rest of the cast to appear and show up and say something, or not. I can end this, earlier than usual. I generally try to do this for an hour, but if people don't want to say anything, I can bounce. Have somebody else I was planning on calling today anyway. But it was funny too because at one point I did think that the computer stuff would actually be able to turn a profit from it. But I always knew that the only reason I even cared about making anything on here was because, you know, the real world was so ridiculous with the positions that were and weren't available. So it sucks that this problem that is independent from YouTube has made YouTube more appealing because of how insane it is. Like just basic stuff is, and I guess maybe that's the moral of the story with these things that um, basic things and stuff that you didn't think was that difficult has just become extraneous and ridiculous for no reason. You know, again, I get the fact that the pandemic has made getting a job more difficult, but a lot of these people apparently don't get that. A lot of them still sell you this idea that, it's just me sitting here. I just fill out these applications for my health. I think I mentioned this on Saturday. I have this one place that I've applied to so many times. They have a little math portion of their uh, application, and it's 30 questions. And I've memorized all of the answers to them because I've just done it over and over and over again. And I talked about this on Saturday. I said that even if you get one, they're still just going to complain. You only get paid $10 an hour. You only get paid $12 an hour. You only get paid $15 an hour. I said, well, how? What? Like, you don't have a position, right? So they complain about you. Then you have one, they still complain. You know what that reminds me of? There's actually a group of guys on here, and I don't wanna, say any names in particular, but there's men on YouTube that will, like, make fun of somebody for not being with a woman, and then if they see what your woman looks like, they'll make fun of the way she looks, like, "She's overweight. She's ugly." It's like, but that's you raising the goalpost because first you insulted this person over not being with someone, and now that they're with someone, you get to talk trash about the way the just you see how what I'm talking about? They always find a way to what's the way of saying it to delegitimize the thing that they wanted you to improve when you improve it. That's why I said it's an endless cycle. It just repeats itself because even if you get rid of the factor or the thing that is supposedly making them upset in the moment, they'll just come over and get mad at something else. Because these people aren't playing fair. Now streams always weird me out. I come on here at like the same usual times, and there's always a different number of people. I remember on Saturday always trying to be around for 6 o'clock, and then I just got became because there were some Saturdays where I was tired at 6, so I would just start doing it earlier and earlier until it became the beginning of the afternoon. We broke that cycle, and I was really worried too because I know a lot of people sleep in during the weekend, so I didn't know if that would worsen or hurt the viewership. No, I just find this website to be kind of coming on here can be kind of disappointing sometimes. Not because the people on here act up, it's just the outworld stuff that I guess can transfer onto here. Um, like for example, you have a lot of people who in the past have said, if you didn't make romance content, you wouldn't even get you wouldn't have trouble getting with the woman. And I used to laugh at this because one, most people who have a problem with getting with a woman don't make videos about it. But secondly, what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought. That's my afternoon brain melt that just occurred. So that's why I like writing the scripts because I can have all this stuff ready and there's no awkward pauses or stumbling or stuttering or any of that. I should have a guideline about not bringing up sodas on my stream. That should be my new mandate. Oh, and now I remember the other part of what I was going to say was, um, so they'll say if you didn't make videos about this, this wouldn't happen, but you only make videos about it because it happened. So they take the cause, right, which is the women I want to go on a date with you, and they cite it as they take what you do in response to women's decision and cite it as the reason for women's decision. That's what's ironic about it. If you didn't make videos about this, this wouldn't happen. But it happened before I made a single damn video. So how if it makes such a big difference if you make videos about it or not, how did it still happen to me even when I didn't make videos with Pixie Dust? I really am sorry about that new romance video. I have to get the screenshots and edit it. Again, it could be finished today or tomorrow. I'm just that Friday crap really drained me. Because again, it's just you have an individual who tells you you don't do anything as you do a show where you draw 600 pictures, edit it, write it, produce it. You do a video, an edited video where you write a script that's usually several pages long. You record the audio, then you have to edit the audio to make sure that it lines up with the pictures and all the little uhs and stutters and the rest of that are out. So I said, I guess this is just my fate, right? You do a bunch of objective work, things that require effort, and then, it doesn't matter because you don't get paid for it or you don't get paid enough for it. Which, if anything, just reinforces the idea that even if you were employed, these people would still talk trash. If you get a degree, you'll be helped and it will make your life easier. Yeah. With my $40,000 of debt that I'm gonna have from your little piece of paper, huh? So I said it really is a damned if you do, damned if you don't. The cycle I'm sick of is the 9 to 5 job. Go to a small boxed up cubicle for money only to be yelled at by your boss and go home miserable. Sad, I know. Well, some of us actually would. Some of us might actually be willing to put up with that if it means having people shut up about. I don't know. It's like, while I want to say that that does sound objectively not appealing, and I do think that positions a lot of times don't pay people enough for what they experience. I'm just so damn sick and tired of having somebody act like, as I apply for all these different positions, I don't want to do anything. So I might be willing to put up with that. I'm about 90% sure that if, like, that same position you were talking about offered me one, I would take it. I wouldn't even think twice. Because again, I'm just so sick of this person. And then the thing that sucks is that even if I do that position, they're still going to say, you only get paid this much. You only get paid this much. Just keep raising the goalposts. So I say, damned if you do, damned if you don't. And I haven't seen Joe in a long time. He vanished. This whole system just seems really screwed up. I'm so tired of it. And then the problem is, um, when you complain about certain parts of it, people will try to, they like to be antagonistic. Like, well, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? It's like, you apply to all these different places. You go to every interview. What more can you do? It's just like the chick thing. You speak to all these different women. Talk to some more of them. How many more? There's always that goalpost of when your feelings actually become legitimate. When your hard work or attempts or whatever you would say uh, are made to be something that should factor in as to why you're frustrated with this. Yes, I'll try to have a better attitude. It's stressful, but I can deal with it. I mean, hey Joe, at least you're employed and you don't have someone telling you that you know you're not trying to work as you apply for over 100 jobs in a year. That's why I say I live in the twilight zone. Like, this person is so awful that there could be a 90% unemployment rate, and they'd be still like, "Why don't you have a job? Why don't you have a job?" Oh, what's that? This is the worst. The largest number of people in the U.S. that haven't worked at the same time in 70 years. Shh. Just you go to all these interviews, and it wasn't that many. I had about 5 or 6 I went to last year. One of them said, "You're one of 40 people applying for 4 positions," and I was already like, "All right, I'm not going to hold my breath with this." Uh, and they didn't tell me that until I came to the interview, by the way. So that if I had known that before, I probably would have still gone just because I don't like the idea of, what's a good way of saying it? When there's overwhelming odds and it influences you to not do something, people try to get upset with you for looking at the overwhelming odds and not wanting to do it. So, for example, if I had chosen to not go to the interview because the person in this scenario had said, there's 40 people applying for these 4 positions, I would have had people on here saying, "You should have tried. You should have gone. You doomed yourself." Even though, again, we can deduce that if it's that many people applying for for these positions, there's a very good chance you're probably not going to get it. There's like a 10% chance of you getting one of those because it's one person. It's 10 people for every one position. What was the other interview I went to? Oh, it was this one restaurant where the person was like, "Oh, we'll tell you what the results tomorrow or over the weekend," and you don't hear anything back from them. I did have one person on Saturday said that I should attempt calling places instead of the stuff on the computer. But the thing is, a lot of times, if I call somewhere, usually they either say go on the computer or come into wherever they are. And personally, I'm very tired of traveling across the land, searching far and wide to be interviewed by someone that doesn't even want to hire me and shoved by the backside. I can't tell how many times I went somewhere, grabbed some papers, filled them out, and then you never heard anything back. Oh my god. Hell, I remember the week that I was at the motel. I actually had this one restaurant that was like across the street, and I walked over there and answered all the questions, filled out the paperwork, and nothing happened. And I called up there 2 or 3 different times, left my name, my number, which was still on the application I had done, and just, or rather, I had completed, and there was no difference. I don't know. It just seems a lot of this stuff is someone trying, and then your efforts are made to not matter. And then when you logically look at how your efforts are not mattering, like that you're doing all this stuff to try and get a position, and then no one is paying attention to it or rewarding it by actually giving you a position. People act confused as to why you would get sick of doing this over and over. It's just really aggravating. Ever seen Benny before? I remember I had this one broad say, "It is what it is," and you stole my catchphrase. Finally seeing an advertisement on your live stream. Oh, Dio's bringing up Batman villains now. I've had ads before, but usually what happens is I'll make the stream monetized, and then during it I'll say some word they think is not quote unquote advertiser friendly, and then I get the monetized. So that's mostly me being the villain for not being able to predict what I'm going to say ahead of time. Because again, if you're just having a casual discussion, you might say something that's not suited for the coin collectors on this website. I've become numb to it. I would be too if I didn't get talked trash about. 100,000 this year. Well, again, 100,000 without a steady income is still not much. I mean, you could theoretically live off of that for over a year, but it still wouldn't be enough to, you know what I'm talking about. It has to be part of something that is regularly coming in and not just here's this, you know, amount being thrown at you. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I remember I said, I'm gonna apply and I'm gonna get a job. Woo. And now I don't even do that anymore. I'm just like, whatever. It's like, yeah, I'll apply for some, but if I don't hear anything back, I won't be surprised. No, James, like the more you do something and it doesn't work out the way you want, the more numb you become to it. Like when voice actors used to quit on me, I was like, I can't believe it. I gave this person all the time in the world. Now when it goes like, oh wow, didn't see that coming. I know I waited 7 months for you and you said you were gonna record something as recently as last week, but this is totally not unexpected. No, you just keep getting that same result over and over. You're like, this is stupid. And I even told the example earlier of how there's one place I've applied to so many times that they have 30 math questions and I've memorized all of them because they just it's the same question over and over. And usually I'll fill out, you know, two, three, four of them, you know, at the same time. So I'm getting asked the same stuff over and over. Sometimes I don't even feel like answering. I was like, well, hell, if they're just not going to even bother actually saying anything to me, what's the point? Because on their questionnaire, they have 70 little bubbles for you to fill out. They have 30 math questions for you to answer. The rest of it is fine. It's not, it would, the rest of it by itself would take maybe 2 or 3 minutes, but that stuff takes a while because you're actually looking at each specific one to answer. You're using your brain or your mind rather. Joe says pathetic. I hope Joe's not calling me that. I'll get ready to find a pocket knife and start cutting. How will I go on if Joe thinks so lowly of me? I'm sick of the cycle of people attacking me and then feigning victim when I try to defend myself. People want to step on your neck and face no consequences or face any retaliation. Well, again, what happened on Friday was literally someone confronts me and then they get called out of their name and then they're like the rest of the night is them playing victim while hurling verbal nukes. Like, and that's why I can't, and then like this is my thing, right? If I call somebody out of their name and they are not like insulting me at all, okay, fine. But this person's done that repeatedly. But I'm supposed to play nice. See, again, this is about people wanting to say whatever they want to you and then trying to control your response. That's why there are people who get mad at me for doing the videos on women because they want to say that the woman has the right to turn you down, which I never contested, but they also want to control the response to the woman's decision. Just like if I turned the woman down and she made a video called "Men Are a Bunch of Liars," I couldn't. That wouldn't bother me, and there would be nothing I could do about it. Especially if she does the way I do it, where she doesn't put up anybody's picture. If she shows screenshots, she has all the names cut out. I wouldn't be upset at all if a woman did this, and some of them do this. Hey Joe, you know what? I wouldn't even be surprised if you had called me pathetic because there are people who will come to my stream just to insult me. And even if I say go, they'll just stay around hovering. So I wouldn't even be shocked. And then Dio says I'm sick of people, to be honest. And he admits that's why he hasn't come to my streams in such a long time. So now we know the truth behind Dio's disappearance. He's been revealed. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Joe decided to, what they call that in wrestling, turning heel, where he comes to my stream to insult me. Oh, I'm so flattered. It was cold here earlier, so I guess I am literally cool. I'm sick of these live remakes Disney is making. Well, don't watch them. There was this one person who had a viral video where they said they're not going to watch the, not the new, not Afterlife, but the Ghostbusters all with the women, where they said, "Why would I watch a movie I already know I'm not going to like?" Cruella looks bad. Don't watch it. Name a single Disney live action remake that was good. And if you can't name any, then you know that that next one probably isn't going to be either. Who even asked for a backstory for her? Well, couldn't they have told the backstory as a cartoon or in a comic or something? Like, if you want to tell your backstory as a human being, what you could just write a book. You don't have to make a movie. There are a lot of avenues to, I guess, divulge new information about pre-existing characters, to where using a film really isn't necessary. Just like with Sony, where they're making that Morbius movie. Like, why? Well, I know the reason why they're doing it, but let me shut up. I'm just imagining when you say no one asked for a backstory for her, somebody goes on Twitter and they just screenshot all the times people were calling for a prequel on her. Like, we need to know how she became the way she is. We need to teach the we need to teach little girls growing up that it's okay to skin dogs and make them into a cult as long as they're misunderstood. I mean, couldn't you say that with the Joker film, even though I guess they had a somewhat sympathetic take on him, they never justified any of the heinous stuff that he did? Just saying. That's how you know Joe was telling the truth when he saw that something was pathetic. That you know he was saying I was pathetic because he vanished after his set. We call it. He left one more comment after that and then just fled. He went to go join my rogues gallery. You're gonna see in my comment section, be like, "That's why you're single, even though a whole bunch of other men are. That's why you don't have a job, even though this is the most people that haven't had a job in the U.S. in 70 years." And then if you get a job, that's why your job only pays you $10 or $12 an hour, even though I complained about you not having one, and I'm still complaining about you even though you have one. Just can't win. Okay, James says money, money. Theo says we need to. Okay, I already read that. It's okay. The puppies were trying to blow up the Hoover Dam. I mean, I don't think anybody would miss that place of water. Now, Binary says, I'm also sick of the cycle of people coming to me expecting me to do favors and getting mad when I refuse. No one's ever helped me, so why would I feel inclined to help other people? Well, yeah, it's again, it's purposely designed to not be fair. It's one-sided empathy. Please help me. Please assist me. Oh, you want compassion? I've had my fair share of people who ask me for assistance on things. And like I said, it's like if you ask them a favor, they just won't do it. Just as an example, I have one person who will ask me to lift boxes, to take out just all these different physical manual labor tasks, right? Um, and then if I asked them to take me to get a COVID test, and if you saw and heard how annoyed they were at the prospect of doing this, and it's someone I'm in close proximity to, I would say every day, several days out of the week at least, who I see every. So it's like you're not doing yourself any favor by not doing this. But again, it's that whole thing of you do this for me, I refuse to do this for you. I'm so glad I've never come across people who asked for favors but never did anything for me. James, we already know about your favors. We know about that woman you gave your coat to and that man you gave your last meal to. That you've done enough favors. We know that they're currently making a biopic about you called The Good Samaritan, and they're going to give you the key to the city in front of the Salvation Army. There actually is this one video where somebody like was, people like to set up fights in real life. They said, "Meet me at the Salvation Army," and I was just thinking, who fights in front of a charity? I'm gonna beat you up good in front of Goodwill. I'll get it on DVD. That's the only tuning in I'm gonna do. Why? Why you just ignore them if they do? I just thought it was funny. I've never seen someone try to set up a fight in front of a charitable organization. Again, just the irony of let's take this place where people go to, I guess, see the best of mankind and have some bare knuckles brawl front of the in front of there. Now, I'm really glad I did the stream on Saturday. Again, if the person had been here, I probably wouldn't have. But it was cathartic. 'Cause again, I'm tired of someone getting being able to say whatever they like about me, and then I'm supposed to mince words and do the rest of that. And really, I am of the belief that when someone doesn't like you, it doesn't matter what you do. And I gave the example of how this person will insult you for being unemployed, but then they'll also make this big deal of having a degree, so where that even if you were employed, they would just raise the goalpost and say, "Oh, well, you don't make enough." So uh, when I see individuals such as that, I don't really have an incentive to try and break my neck to appeal to them. And I've said this very genuinely. I don't believe there was anything else in all of these circumstances that I could have done to alter. I mean, maybe if I'd applied to 200 places instead of the 100 from last year, but again, it's just at a certain point, when is it enough? When is it accepted that this person tried their hardest and didn't work? And then, like, I mean, you have to understand, you fill out that many different damn applications, then you have a once in a lifetime virus that just, and people still don't get it. I mean, the way they talk about me being unemployed, they think you would think there was no COVID. There that all of the issues affecting these other people, I'm supposed to be able to just walk right through. Said this on Saturday. They make it seem like I'm some kind of superhero, where I can avoid the shortcomings and pitfalls of the average man. Oh, James, I know you didn't like Justice League. Did you see the Snyder Cut trailer? A lot of people were laughing about Joker because his, like, they were pointing out that his mouth is just completely smudged in red, and people were saying that he ate all the cranberry sauce. It's only your fault. Yeah, you know what the funniest thing is, just as an example, right, for the chick stuff, because it like ties into it. People are so demented that if you turn down a woman, like, you turn down a woman, right? She asked you for a date, you say no. They would say it was your fault the woman didn't get to go on a date with you, which is true. But then if a woman turns you down for a date, it's also your fault. So if you're the rejector or the rejectee, as long as you're a man, it's your fault. No, I didn't, but I heard they were talking about the Joker's long hair or something. Well, these guys did a reaction video to it, and they kept replaying that part to laugh at his his mouth being covered in that. They said that's bootleg Heath Ledger. Your fault for wearing the wrong glasses. But you see my point, right? That they will, like, when you're in the same scenario as the person they don't want to criticize, they'll still criticize you. Uh, and it's so transparently a double standard. Just like with the job thing, I said, you know what? If I didn't have the proof that I had applied to all different places I applied to, I would maybe get their position. But I think it's very, like, think of the implications of this. You're saying the person who goes out of their way, which we know by virtue of how many places I applied to get a job, is no better than the person who doesn't apply for any of them. Like, that there's no difference because they ended up with the same result. So I said there's no nuance. Just have to have the golden triangle. Like I said, man, you don't see just these standards being applied to women. Like, with that certain character I like to mention recurringly, the one that had the guy that paid for the storage unit. She was literally homeless and had a boyfriend, and it's like, you know very well that if that happened to anyone on here, we would get laughed at and made fun of. But she had sympathy, and he all that. It's just, oh, me and my couch over here making all the noises in the world. You get my point, right? That it's just the double standards are so apparent. I just hate that things are the way that they are. Like, I don't come on here to ask my subscribers for money. Every time they donate, they do it out of their own free will. Um, I try to make my content, and then, I'm told that I'm apparently, just sitting around, not doing anything. It's just stupid. I already told you on Saturday the details of the lifestyle of the person who said this stuff, so you can go watch that stream if you want me to repeat it. But really, isn't this a very crappy scenario? You're just gonna keep applying for all these different positions, not hearing anything back from those people, while being told that you don't want to work and you all this other nonsense that is objectively incorrect. And then even if you get a position, you're gonna be told that this will not sustain whatever lifestyle these other people think you want, and then have them try to make you afraid of working to get you to go to school so that you can end up with tens of thousands of dollars of debt. Chasing a piece of paper doesn't guarantee you anything except an anchor around your leg. But Euro, that's their self-fulfilling prophecy. If every place requires you to have work experience, then how the hell are you ever supposed to have any work experience? That's like, let's say if every man, just as an example, okay, every man wanted the woman they were trying to get with to have dated a man, like one man in the past, right? So if every single woman, or rather every single man wants the woman they date to have dated one man in the past, how is the woman ever supposed to have the first date if everybody has the standard of you need to have dated one person? Like, it's a literal self-fulfilling prophecy. They don't hire anybody because they have a standard that all these other places are pushing, so they're all locked out to you. I guess it fits the stereotype that women are weak and frail and men are supposed to be strong and stuff. No, no, I'm not saying that that's something men actually like, because James, you know damn well you don't see any men being like, well, I like this woman, but if she hasn't dated anybody in the past, I don't think I'm gonna go on a date with her. You never see that. I was just saying that as an example of just the same mentality of how if all of these places have the same standards, then there's no way for you to progress. You're set up to fail. I know people lie on the applications. That's not new to me. Even if you have even if you have a good degree, that's just to get in the door, and it still doesn't guarantee you anything. Like, why would I want to do a bunch of work for a piece of paper that might get me a position of, and these people never say what these magic positions are gonna pay you, when I can have, and people also like to pretend that a lot of times to mitigate, and I'm not saying this is a preferred thing I'd like to do, but this is something that people do a lot of times to mitigate one position not paying you that much, people will get two. So you have a person who might work one place on the weekdays and then somewhere else on the weekends. Um, but why would I pick a piece of paper that puts an anchor around my leg over an actual steady income that's guaranteed? They have a standard that is impossible to meet. This system is set up to screw you over unless you have really good connections. And even the people who think this system is not to blame for the way things are admit that it's that way. Oh, you can make good money as a pizza delivery driver. Some of them even make the median salary. But you get what I'm saying, Eurodollar, that if you can make a guaranteed income from whatever positions are willing to hire you, why would you think that's less preferable? Why would you find that less preferable to doing a bunch of laborious work for a piece of paper and acquiring debt and then hoping that that paper is able to pay it off someday eventually? The only reason I got my construction job is because my trade school teacher put in a good word for me. This stuff is just so aggravating. I swear. What did I say in that one video? There's a video I did or an edited video. I was like, if I decided to off myself, it wouldn't be because I thought I failed or something. It was because I'm so sick of. I want to get away from you. It's like you suck so hard. I want to get away from you. I maintain that position that it would not be because I'm like ashamed of me. I just people like out here and some of them on here are just so trashy and I will never pretend I got my job out of hard work. Yeah, those degrees are a huge scam now, but that didn't used to be the case. I know it wasn't. No, the price of college has skyrocketed over the last 20 to 30 years. 70,000 in debt sounds horrifying. And remember, when I read that message on Saturday, the woman, or I don't know if it was a woman or a guy because they have some like username I couldn't tell, but they said that it went up because the amount of time that it was taking for them to pay it off had continued to make the interest rise, that they were not meeting the deadlines, and this caused it to increase. So, you're not just gonna have 40,000 sitting there for 20. And it's like, guys, you understand, how many times can you honestly say you can, like, have something that costs, let's say, 1,000, right? And just pay for it right then and there? Like, $1,000 is not something most of us have to just throw around. So if these people are asking you for 40 of those or 50 or 60 of those, do you see how it makes it more and more difficult to catch up because they're asking you for an amount of money that already is not something you're used to just giving to someone or for one thing, and they're asking for it over and over again year after year, and if you don't do this by a certain deadline, it just keeps going up. It literally is like taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. It's like you pay off a little bit of it, but still not enough. And you better do it quickly. God. I got into a good private school and actually got three-fourths of my education paid for by grants and scholarships. I thought a year was payable. Now, 10 years later, I'm still in $70,000 worth of debt that actually keeps growing because I can't keep up with interest. It started at 60,000 when I graduated, up from the actual tuition cost of 45,000 due to fees. And I say it like that because they put it in quotation marks. Jesus Christ. But yeah, if you listen to any of these people, they act like I don't know what I'm talking about. And again, that's fine, but I think it's really insane that I'm supposed to want to do something such as this to make somebody else feel better about my life. Well, if I can track down that user, because I don't remember what video that was left on. I just have a screenshot from it. I would be able to ask them. That was written over a year ago, so I don't even know if they still log on to YouTube. I'm just tired of this stuff. There actually was some channel that did a poll where the poll was, "Is college a scam?" And it was like 75% said yes. So again, people know that this stuff, and that's what I really hate about this whole saga, that everything is about having some inordinate amount of money. Like, I don't know anyone my age that just has 40, 50, 60,000. Just I don't know anyone that can do that. So to have these people trying to pretend as if that's just a regular thing, it's just a never-ending cycle. I really was surprised by that nonsense. Like, I truly believe that if people knew how insane it was to get a position in the pandemic, they would be just a little bit more sympathetic, a tiny bit anyway. But I guess not. Look at the chat. Are there any other further comments, statements, theories, thoughts, concerns, speculation? Because really, I'm just grossed out by having to keep showing proof of what I'm talking about. And again, like, you're supposed to want to go back into this system with the same group of people who declined to assist you last time around, and who can still choose any point to just not help. People are like, show me proof, then ignore it. Well, look, I've got my proof. I have the proof of the different applications. I have the proof of the people who say that they lost a whole bunch of money trying to get the piece of paper. I have the proof showing that this is the largest number of unemployed people in 70 years. All of it is there for anyone who wants to see it. No, James, I care about you. I care so much about you. That's why I'm gonna not assist you with this at all. And then I'm gonna tell you that you're entitled because you want assistance with this. Yeah, yeah, I care about you a lot. I don't even know what that word means anymore. Every time somebody says, I just roll my eyes. I'm like, yeah, I heard that before. Like I said, look at anything that people care about, and you'll find that there's always financial stuff attached to it. Like all the movies that people pay to see. It's like, oh, they're like, oh, well, this is one that people really like, and you can tell because it made $1 billion. So caring about something is always factored in by how much people are willing to spend on it. Just like and you know what's crazy? Another example, right? If I had a son or a daughter or just a child, right, and I lived with them, but I didn't pay for their food. I didn't pay for them to go to school. I didn't pay for their books. I didn't pay for their clothes. And I said, but I care about you. I would get laughed at. People would say all I was doing was just yapping and not actually assisting in any capacity. I just think it's stupid for someone to do a whole bunch of work to get into some better institution and then not be able to continue because someone else doesn't want to foot the bill. I got an ad with All Star. Well, click it off. I'm not like I have no control over what ads you see. I don't run YouTube AdSense. I try to get 2 cents off of YouTube AdSense, and that's the sum total of my involvement with that system. It makes sense. There are plenty of movies that did bad but became cult classics. You know what I'm saying? That anytime somebody cares about something, they usually spend something on it. And it's like, this is what I don't get. Now, you know what? Whatever. I've made my point. I'm not gonna keep sitting there trying to justify myself. I've already given example after example. So, if there's anything else left to say, let me know. Hello? Hello? Yeah. All right. Uh, we got in this really quickly. Somebody's coming over. So, any further comments, thoughts, theories, views, positions? Speak now or hold your peace until Saturday. And just like with the romance stuff, the last 3 or 4 romance videos I've done, they're not monetized. One because I know they'll get put on the yellow piss sign anyway, but two because I'm not like I don't do things I enjoy for the money. Sure, if somebody donates, I'll say thank you and whatnot, but I don't. It's really aggravating that I'm not allowed to do something and actually put effort into it without having some clown tell me that it apparently doesn't count because I don't make whatever amount of coins they deem is necessary for it to be considered a thing of importance. So tired of people. All they do is just ruin everything. Stay safe, snow bad. It doesn't snow over here ever, Leo. But look, I'm gonna get off of here. Thanks for showing up. I'm gonna try to do that video this week. I'm 99% sure it should be done the next 2 days, maybe even tonight if I'm just trying to get it out there. But thanks for appearing, and remember, even if you try, it's your fault. What smart people love doing, the real smart people, like the person who after 30 years still can't figure out how to move away from their mom's house, is blaming the one person trying to change things for why they stay the same. Good job.